Ducky. Buxton massive. Hey Babylon boy, you go on like you know like Kams son. Right. Kams audio son. You burn this wine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Kams I say them heart no kind. Buxton massive. Kidaki. Redder.
Never do. Never do. Never do. Oh, money, never money.
Never money. Money, never money. Money, I know what you gonna even money. Money, never money. Money, never money. Money, you can keep your conniving money. When you been a corrupt, in a been tell me money. Now because your money done, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full, in a been tell me money. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me money.
Yes, money, never
Money, never money. Money, Never, never joke. Never, never joke. Never, never joke. That's all the money that me work for. A 2 pound note and I get a piece. A 2 pound note and I get a piece. A 2 pound note and I get a piece. This is all the money that me work for.
I said money never,
Money never, money. Money never, money. Money, I don't want you can I be money.
oh Joseph.
Guyana and Guyanese, at home and abroad. Tune in to Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by Kadaki Amsterdam, where the sun always shines. Guyanese Morning Time, the people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. We rise up early morning watching Kams TV, where wisdom and knowledge, yes, it is the key. Exposing corruptions over land and sea, where the wicked politicians they try to trick me. Guyana is a land for everybody. With 6 races should live in harmony. Is one set of people getting aisle money. Is one set of people doing the thievery. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. This is a program that you all can see, sharing your views and your integrity. Like it, comment and share it all around. Pass it to your neighbor, safe and sound. A sad situation going on in this town. The voice of the people is getting trampled down. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, which has ordained me to sing. I sing Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, fooling the people. You promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. Stop fooling people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. I say Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. They got Breakford, Bork and Mark Benchcop. David Hines and Kadaki Amsterdam. Sherrod Duncan, Nigel London. Normal Brown and Gavin Matthews. Big up Paslow, Port People Governor. Simona Brooms, Robin Simpson. Hampton Green and Winston Jordan. And yes, we can go right on and on. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again.
The relatives and friends of young Brendan Bacchus, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of our in Boston, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of Peter Headley, they deserve justice.
And so when we say that Guyana
Yeah, man. This is Rolly, you know. I am here just to speak to my African brothers and sisters. Just to share a little word with you guys. We are all African. We are the ones who create civilization. We are the number one. We are Africans, we're Africans, we're Africans. We are Africans, no matter where you're from, we're Africans. We are Africans, we're Africans, we're Africans. No matter where you're from, we're Africans. We are Africans, no matter where you're from, we're Africans. Africa is calling, time for us to unite. A nation don't teach you right, will never treat you right, will never love you right. This song is coming from my heart, morning, day, noon and night. I can feel this loving vibes, my people, let's all start to unite. We are a people of a great race, money and violence pushing we face. Civilization must take back its place. For the black race, for the black race, in front your face, it got no taste, yeah. We are Africans, we're Africans, we're Africans. No matter where you're from, we are Africans. No matter where you're from, we're Africans. We are Africans, we're Africans, we're Africans. We are Africans, no matter where you're from, we're Africans. Be proud of yourselves, my people, know who you are. We coming from a distance and we coming from far. Our ancestors came and they die on the tar, while some of us gone home with so many scars. This is a crime against humanity, while millions and billions die in slavery. A people without a knowledge of the past history, bound to go down, this is mental slavery. I am singing from near, I am singing from far. We are from a lineage with great superstar. I hoping for this message just reach one and all. I hoping for this message just reach so far. For all, no more back against the wall. For all, we are standing tall. For all, we stand up on the wall. For all, for all, for all, for all. We are Africans, we're Africans, we're Africans. We're the one who we are Africans, no matter where you're from, we're Africans. We are Africans, we're Africans, we're the defender of the black melanin. We are Africans, no matter where you're from, we're Africans. Africa is calling, time for us to unite. A nation don't teach you right, will never treat you right, will never love you right. This song is coming from my heart, morning, day, noon and night. I can feel this loving vibes, my people, let's all start to unite. We are the people of a great race, money and violence pushing we face. Civilization must take back its place. For the black race, for the black race, for the black race, yeah, yeah,
Looking for a unique gift idea for the holidays? Then come down to Makeda's at 146 Albert Street. We have gift ideas for everyone, from festive African fabric, accessories, African-inspired outfits, unique African-inspired toys, books, African house decor, and so much more. Make this holiday special with a gift from Makeda's, where you can celebrate the African way.
Are you planning your next visit to Oil-Rich Guyana, South America? Well, let's accommodate you at Varon's Cheerful Country Manor. With free secured on-premises parking, our beautiful vacation air-conditioned home offers 3 beds, 2 bathrooms, a spacious kitchen, and all modern amenities. Located at Tushen, on the eastern bank of the mighty Essequibo and the western coast of Demerara, Varon's Cheerful Country Manor is just a stone throw from the ocean. Make that reservation now on Airbnb and VRBO. For contact, call us on 516-770-3053 or 592-685-3521. Make Varon's Cheerful Country Manor your home away from home.
Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Morning, neighbor, morning. What you do, neighbor, what you do? It's 7 hours 37 on the 28th day of December in the year 2023. We're counting down. 3 days to the end of the year. 4 days to the start of the new year. Morning, how are you doing? Morning, 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 morning. How was it yesterday? What did you do yesterday? Yesterday was the first day back at work for a lot of people. And we are going to work until when? Friday perhaps? Saturday, Friday, yeah. And then we take that New Year break and then we go back to work. What, on Tuesday or Monday? Which one? When is New Year? How was it yesterday? What have you achieved? What did you achieve? Monday is New Year, right? Which means you're going back to work on Tuesday. Good. How did you pass here yesterday? Made any money? Any improvements in your lives? Did you help somebody? Did you help yourself? I saw a document, a certain document, with a set of politicians from a particular political party. And somebody dissected the document and they circled some names. And they said those people who are circled are helping themselves, while those who are not circled are helping the party. Okay, gentle girl, trust me, I hear that said, but I couldn't even remember when it was Christmas. Oh yeah, it might strike you as funny, the things that escape my mind. Sometimes I feel the day is going either too quickly or too slowly. I know I'm in between the two. I don't know if it's the year is going quickly or it's going too slowly. Right? And so forgive me if it looks as though sometimes I have lost track of time, as we like to say. I really don't even know what part of the year we're right now. I mean, things are a bit slow. The reports I'm getting from those people who would normally
be fully integrated in the Christmas celebrations and business and so on is that the season wasn't all of that. Things weren't bright, right? They said one of the worst Christmas they had, business-wise, economically, and so on. So one of the worst Christmases they had. One guy told me, and he's an economist, eh? So, Mr. Amsterdam, had it not been for the fact that the private sector pays the workers late into the month, close to Christmas, the hustle and bustle you would have seen, you saw in Georgetown leading up to Christmas Day would have been non-existent. Because the public service workers are either broke already or they hadn't enough to spend. Or perhaps some of them thought wisely not to spend. Right? But the Christmas was dismal according to some people. I want you to share your experiences with me. Especially if you are doing business. When you're doing business and you do it annually, you get a good gauge of whether things were good or bad for Christmas, because you know those things that people normally come by. You know what your traffic is usually like throughout the year, and you know what to expect at the end of the year or the beginning of the Christmas season, whatever you want to call it. Share with us. I want to know how business fared during the Christmas season, which is finished right now. We are into the Old Year season, I dare say. We got 3 days or so leading up to Old Year's, and then it's a brand new year, 2024. 365 days, I would think, unless it's a leap year, to make an impact, to change somebody's life, to change your own life, right? I want to encourage you to make the best of the last few days in this year, and of course make plans to go into the next year with a bang, right? So according to Mr. Google, 2024 is a leap year, right? And so this year I will see you on the 29th of February hanging out somewhere, right? In 2024, we will hang out somewhere on the 29th of February. Those people who are born in leap years will get to celebrate another birthday, right? In 2024. Good. So yeah, make the best use of these last few days, 3 days or so, in 2023 to, I would say, revisit the months of 2023, the moments of 2023. Determine what are the things you could have done better, what are the things you could have changed, and adapt those changes for 2024. That is how you improve on what you are doing or what you will continue to do. So if you look at your business in 2023 and you realize you missed a lot of opportunities because you were not prepared for X, Y, or Z, then you should put systems in place so that when you enter 2024, you're not going to falter that way. That's my encouragement to you. It's always good to reflect. It's always good to look back, as we see. And look back and learn from the past. That is why history is important. So please do that. My encouragement to you. Yeah. And in relation to preparing for the opportunities that may very well visit you next year, and I don't want you to lose them, we're going to talk today in strictly business about some of the things that I think you should do. Good? But let me talk quickly about some news I recognize. Number one, Balthasar of Suriname has been sentenced to 21 years, I think, in prison for the murder of his political opponents. Happened way long ago, right? Way long ago. But it's a justice to catch up with you some point in time. He was sentenced, I think, in 2021 originally, and then he appealed, and so on and so forth, and the courts have upheld the sentencing, and so he's yet to be incarcerated. I don't know if it can happen. But the records show that Balthasar has been found guilty and sentenced to 21 years for the murder of his political opponents, as I call them. They included politicians and people of the church and lawyers and all kinds of people. Good? Balthasar maintains that he's innocent of the charges. There was no premeditation to murder anybody, etc., etc. Good? So, just so you're aware of what's happening in neighboring Suriname. Closer to home, I read last evening that extradition orders have been signed for the leading men of Mohammed's enterprise. That is Azruddin Mohammed and Shell Mohammed. Shell is the father and Azruddin the son. I think the son is more popular, especially among young people, than the father is. So the son is maybe better known among young people, I assume, than the father is. Remember not last year, in the same year, we received news that Shell Mohammed had hired an ex-FBI person to do a private investigation with the sole purpose of clearing his name, I would say, in the eyes of the U.S. authorities, because he wanted his name cleared so that he could have renewed his visa, because he had a visa which was not renewed. And he was anxious to travel to the U.S. Maybe for family get-togethers, etc. And so he thought, well, listen, the best way to do this thing to clear my name is to have one of their own come here and investigate all of these allegations against me. Right? Of course, we know that when those investigations took place and the report was filed, according to the investigator, the allegations were untrue. But of course, the U.S. authorities, obviously the U.S. authorities did not accept the findings of that investigation or investigator. Because like I was saying, who pays the piper calls the tune? I could be as dark as midnight. And if I'm paying the artist and I say to paint me white, that is what I expect him to paint me white, because I am paying the artist. And I guess the U.S. authorities got the same outlook. Who pays the piper calls the tune. And so Shell had a clean bill of health. Not to say he doesn't deserve a clean bill of health. I'm talking about character-wise here. I don't know the guy. I've heard about the guy and stuff about the guy and the company and so on. That's all. But the U.S. is saying, hey, we need him. We need Shell Mohammed and we need Azruddin Mohammed. Get the question is, how does the extradition, assuming the PPP will allow it to happen, how does the extradition of the leading men of the Mohammed's enterprise affect the economic prospects? All right, good. So this should be better, but it's not the ideal thing, but we'll work with it. Good. So I was saying, if you were following, if you kept following, I'm not sure what Sandra Hanover is saying, but y'all could shine me as they say. Yes, I was saying, if you were following the developments after that investigation to clear Shell Mohammed's name, you would have recognized that something was amiss. Something was going to happen. Because when it first, allegations started happening first of investigations against the Mohammeds and so on, and ExxonMobil was really and truly not supposed to be involved in doing business with any company or individual that was under investigation by the U.S. authority. Exxon did issue a statement and say, as far as we know, there is no investigation involving Shell Mohammed taking place. And whenever we are officially informed or we are officially aware that there is an investigation, an active investigation taking place or so, then we will cross that bridge. And sometime thereafter, we saw where Shell Mohammed had to withdraw right, had to withdraw from that consortium, that partnership, right, that invested in the offshore project for ExxonMobil. And so when I saw that, I said, something is afoot here. The US is on to Shell, or some investigation has started officially, because if I remember what ExxonMobil said, I use that as my reference point. And so here it is, several months after we're hearing that extradition orders have been signed for Shell Mohammed and Azriuddin Mohammed, leading men of the Mohammed enterprise. Get? There was a rumor some time ago that, I say a rumor because I don't know the facts, I didn't get the facts, that while in office, Granger was approached about extraditing Shell Mohammed, or Azriuddin, one of the Mohammeds. And I understand the response that he had given at that time was that, listen, this is a leading businessman in our country. And so the impression I'm getting is that maybe he had refused to sign, to agree to whatever that extradition order, assuming it was a similar case. I don't know, because like I said, it was rumored. Old people say, I'll pong a lie, get a ounce of truth sometimes. But who knows can investigate and confirm or reject that theory. There are lots of charges against Granger and his administration when it comes to requests from the US government, according to rumors. But one government saying to another, this man is a major business person in our society, is not far from reality, because I guarantee you, if the Mohammed's enterprise should collapse today, there are going to be serious ripple effects in the Guyanese economy. Serious ripple effects. And so any government will weigh the pros and cons of, quote unquote, giving up one or two, in this instance, of their major businessmen or women to the US government on an extradition order. So when I saw the news on this extradition order being signed and so on, I said, well, we will now see the mettle of the PPP. Will they give them up? Will they give them shelter? Will they put their own government at risk by going against the wishes of the US, and so on and so forth? Right. We know for a fact that the Mohammed stood behind Irfan Ali in his presidential bid. We know that there's been a lot of payback since Ali became president. But we will get the opportunity now to see how far the Ali-led PPP is going to go in terms of showing gratitude to the Mohammeds. Will they be extradited or not? I don't know. But what I know is that because their quote-unquote business tentacles extend far and wide in the Guyanese economy, their extradition can have serious negative economic impact on the Guyanese economy, in the private employment sector. So let's continue to look at that. Let's continue to monitor that and see what the developments are. And I'm talking from a point of history. Remember men like Pablo Escobar and the last one from Colombia, what was his name? El Jefe, Nevertheless, a man like Pablo Escobar had become so powerful and so integral that he could have actually negotiated with the Colombian government its terms and conditions of surrendering to them. The man built his own prison. Right? That is how important he was to the economy. I guess by then he had corrupted all the politicians and government officials and so on. So he's running the show. Are we going to experience a similar situation in Ghana where the mom is going to say, well, we got a thing on y'all, but y'all going to play? Good. But in my mind, it wouldn't be the first time that the Guyanese government, the PPP to be more specific, would either turn a blind eye or stand in the way of an extradition order. Because I'm sure, I think the name is Jagmuan, was or still is wanted by the US government. Right? And Jagmuan, from the looks of everything, is a close associate of the PPP. But even Sarah Lynch went into the company of Jagmuan. History will tell us what really Sarah Lynch's role was in Guyana. We will have to reflect on that when the classified documents on Guyana during the Sarah Lynch period are released. I hope and pray to be around so that I can read them and see if some of my thinkings were correct in relation to Sarah Lynch. Right? But let's continue to look at that because, of course, Clive Thomas spoke about the narco economy and the underground economy and so on. And so when the narco economy is, or narco capital is entrenched in your society and it gets yanked unexpectedly, you're going to find yourself in some serious problems, serious economic problems. In the case of Guyana, the pumping of oil by ExxonMobil might save the day. Might save the day. The income coming from oil production might very well be able to cushion the fallouts of the underground economy being affected, of the importance of Mohammed's enterprise in the Guyanese economic mix, right? So it might not be as bad as we are, or I am thinking it could be, if the Mohammeds are extradited. But extradition definitely extradition of the Mohammeds definitely will have an impact on Mohammed's enterprise and by extension all of the business ventures it is involved in. Because the US is known not only to go after, quote unquote, whoever they consider mastermind, but the next logical step is that they're going to be blocking their revenue sources. And Mohammed's is known as a major gold exporter and arms and ammunition importer in the Guyanese circle. And so if it is the US decides to put pressure on them, means that the people who are trading with the Mohammeds where gold is concerned can no longer trade. It means foreign exchange will no longer be flowing fluidly into the country through the Mohammed enterprises ventures. It also means that the possibility that arms and ammunition prices will go up because they are major importers. And if the US decides to put a ban on people trading with them, it means the supply is eventually going to become less than demand. And so prices may go up. Those are just some of the impacts I can think about immediately of this extradition order, which I read was signed for Shel Mohammed and Azrud. Good? But like I say, let us continue to monitor that. But it's and I discussed this particular issue as part of Strictly Business today because it is business. It is business. But it is business. Right. So let's talk about what we need to do, like I said. What we need to do in these last days of 2023 in preparation for 2024 so that we can make full use of opportunities which may come our way in 2024. Business-wise, I'm talking about. Right? And the first thing I remember saying to you people, if you have a business, register it. Register it. Even if you call it Dog and Cat Enterprise, register it. Rat and Bat, register it. Good? Register your trade name. And so when you register your trade name, it is only you who would have a legal claim to that name. And the registration of your trade name is usually done at the deeds registry. The deeds registry is upstairs at what used to be the New Building Society. It's upstairs at the old New Building Society building, there at the junction of, is that Hink Street? The street that brings you out of the Bobby's Car Park. And I guess that would be the eastern side of Avenue of the Republic. Right? The eastern side of Avenue of the Republic. And the junction of that street that brings you out of the Bobby's Car Park. That's where you'll find the deeds and commercial registry. Upstairs there. Good? And you can go and register your business there. You have those of you who have existing business who have been registered before. You have until Old Year's Day, that is the 31st of December to register, the 31st of December to renew your registration. Good? Right? Renew your registration at half the price. If you, I think the registration cost used to be $10,000. I don't know what it is right now. But if you go and you do a renewal before the expiry date, then you pay half the price. But if you allow your registration to expire, then you have to pay for a new registration, which means you have to pay 100%. Right? Good? Are you understanding that? So, if you don't have a business, if you don't have a business registration, this is the time to get it done. So you start the new year with a registration in your hand. Because if you're going to do business with, especially government agencies, you must have a business registration. You also must have a TIN. I hear people talk about tint. Tint has to do with color. TIN, tax identity number. TIN, TIN, tax identity number. So you must have a TIN certificate for your business. Sometimes as a sole trader, a one-man business, your personal TIN can be used in business transactions. What if you have a registered business? In many instances, the business has a different TIN because the business takes on a persona of itself. The business becomes separate and apart from you. So get your businesses registered, apply to the GRA on Kams Street for a TIN number. Then ensure you go to the NIS, National Insurance Scheme. If you're going to be employing people, and this is very, very important, if you're going to employ people in your business, you need to register with the NIS as an employer. And NIS will give you an employer number on which you will pay NIS contributions for your employees. And this too is important because especially if you want to partake in the economic, the construction boom that happens in any oil economy, you're going to have to tender for jobs in the public and the private sphere. But especially in the public sphere, you will have to get NIS compliance, GRA compliance. Those are two prerequisites of the government tendering process. You must get compliance from the NIS to say, this is a good corporate citizen, this person has been remitting NIS contributions on behalf of his or her employees, or even on his own behalf. He has been paying his contributions, or she has been paying her contributions. And so they issue that compliance certificate. Get GRA. You're required to have a GRA compliance also. So that is why it's important that you register with GRA for a TIN. And then you apply for your compliance, and GRA gives you a compliance. So when you go to tender now, those are two important pieces of documents that you have to submit in your tender. Your GRA compliance to say that you've been paying your taxes, and your NIS compliance to say that you've been remitting National Insurance Scheme contributions for your employees. So let me go again. Get your business registered at Deeds and Commercial Registry. Apply to GRA for a TIN. Apply to NIS for an employer number. Once you get those, apply to GRA for compliance, a tax compliance, and NIS for NIS compliance, insurance compliance, let's call it that. And I'm saying you should try to get those things done in this last few days of the year, so that when January breaks, you already have shots in your gun to partake. Because here, the 2024 budget has not been read as yet, but it has to be read at some point in time. And since it is going to be read sometime later than the start of the year, as soon as it is read and approved, there will be a scurry of activities to start spending that money. At least so I imagine. And so you should already be in a state of readiness, like we say. Luck is opportunity reaching preparation. You should be in a state of readiness. So as soon as they say ready, set, go, you are on the ball. You're tendering for contracts, you're applying for jobs, whatever you're doing, you have your documents in order. Now there's another critical piece of information, another serious action that you need to take, and that is open a business bank account. Your business and you should not have the same account. Your personal saving account should be different to the business bank account. And so once you have your business registration and TIN, you can go to the bank to open a business bank account. And so once you do that, once you get that registration done, once you get that TIN done, go to the bank that you trust and open an account with them. Business account is most times a checking account. There is business saving also. Right? So you do that. Why do you need a business bank account? Because when you tender for a government contract, Tom Jones and Sons, that is the name that the check is written in, Tom Jones and Sons. As such checks are required to be deposited. Unless you have a business bank account, you can't walk over the counter and change a check that is issued to Tom Jones and Sons. Because there will be no way of verifying that such an entity exists. But once you open a business bank account, then the bank has that information. And so they know, yes, this money is going into an account owned by Kidaki Amsterdam trading as Tom Jones and Sons. Good? So you have to do that. Once you do that, you have your registration, you have your TIN, you have your NIS, you get your compliances, you have a business bank account. For the most part, you're ready to go. But we have capital. Do you have capital? I get capital, you know, right? Especially if you're bidding for 100 million and multi-billion-dollar contracts, you gotta get capital. You have to have access to capital. There is something that they call a bank guarantee. That's the other thing. Some contracts require you to have a bank guarantee or guarantor. And so if you don't have a bank account, you don't have a relationship with the bank, you can't go to the bank for any guarantee or any guarantor. Right? Some contracts ask you to submit a bank statement, not a regular bank statement, but a letter from the bank indicating what your financial standing is, or something to the extent. If I go through my files, I should find one, at least one, where the bank states that you are a client, you hold an account with them, and you've been holding this account with them for X number of years, or more than X number of years, and your current balance. They don't be afraid. They don't tell them how much money you got. Right? But they will give them an idea. You currently have a balance of an upper 6-figure or 10-figure, 12-figure, 40-figure. And so they give them an idea of where you stand financially. Right? In that your balance is within a certain range, certain bracket. Good? Understand that. Now, once you're an employer, once your business is going to be employing people, NIS will tell you there's something that is called a wages register. Wages and salaries register. You have to have a wages and salaries register. That wages and salaries register will have a list of all of your employees. In many instances, you assign employers' employment number to them. And that list is usually at the front of your wages and salaries register. So an NIS officer comes, inspector comes, and he opens that register. You should see a whole list of your employees and their employment number, date of employment, and other information like the date of birth and address and contact information and so on and so forth. Right? If you don't have an employment register, as far as I remember, you're in breach of the laws. You are in breach of the laws. NIS can actually take you to court for not having an employment register, because it is in that employment register where you keep all the records of deductions from your employees and remittals to NIS. Good. Deductions fall under two brackets. It has employees' contribution and employers' contribution. All of that is captured in your wages register. So get those things in place in preparation for 2024. So long as you're serious about getting into business or serious about moving your business forward. I think I'm going to go and redo my registration. And this year I'm going to be tendering for contract because I want to get a $1 billion contract like some other people who were just flat-foot hustlers. Right? So in 2024, I'm looking for $1 billion contract. And I don't mind partnering with the likes of, you know them, those who are willing to deal under the table in a PPP. The man who controls the biggest budget in the PPP government, I think, is the Fisher Bishop. I remember seeing a video of an Indo-Guyanese in Wakanam or Supanam, some nam cussing and saying, this man don't know nothing about money. He can't manage money. Money too big for his spend. Good? So maybe that's one of the ministries where I should try to tend and get some jobs. Especially looking at the way roads are constructed and so on and the mediocrity and things. I think I could do a better job than many people. So I should be tendering and getting some of these jobs in the name of the public good. Right? So I can deliver proper infrastructure to people and so on. I know my brother Jose gonna come home and he's gonna assist. He's gonna bring some of the American first world technology and approaches, methods. And we will shop some of the long lasting or long existing contractors in this country. Good? That's an aside. But on a serious note, those are the documents which I think you need to get in place if you're going to really play. If you're really going to partake in public tendering, especially in 2024. Let me recap for you before I open the lines. I'm saying you will need a business registration. You will use that business registration to get an NIS and the GRA registration. GRA will be TIN, tax identity number for your business. NIS will be employer's registration number, employer's number for your TIN. NIS will also provide you with guidance in terms of the need for a wages and salaries register, right? If you need, most likely they will be able to teach you how to calculate deductions and so on, right? You need also a bank account, because that bank account is where your funds, both your capital and your payments from contractors or payment from clients will be processed, right? So ensure you get those things in place and go right ahead, full steam ahead. There's some people who are not going to be sole traders. There's some people who are going to be partners. Some people will approach a business from the partnership angle. It is important that each partner get their business registration. So you're partnering business to business. Or you drop your articles of association as a partnership and you do your business registration as that partnership. So both of your names or all of your names will be on the registration. Don't get into no partnership business where the business name is registered only under one person, because there is no legit claim to partnership. If you enter a partnership, your name must be on the documents of the business, the registration of the business. And so you and Tom want to go into a partnership, you and Tom will have to fill out the business registration form and provide the necessary documentation, identity, and so on and so forth, and register that business as a partnership. Be very careful of that. Don't let nobody tell you your partner in this business just bring money. Right? Your partner in this business, it doesn't happen like that. The other aspect is when you're getting into partnership, ensure you work out the relationship of the partners. Who is responsible for what? Is there compensation involved? For example, you are going to be running the business on a day-to-day basis. Are we paying you to do that? What percentage? What's the day rate of pay? If you don't get paid by the day for that, how are you compensated? What will be the profit share, considering the fact that you are running the business on a day-to-day basis and the others might be silent partners and stuff like that? Those are things you have to consider when you're going on. Good. The lines are open. 6225933 is the number to call. It is now 8 hours 27. We have about 33 minutes to conclude today's program. Right? 6225933 is the number to call. If you have your business to advertise, it's Free Talk Friday. And you can take the opportunity and make that plug. Let me also say to you that at the end of this year, right? The end of this year might see the end to all free advertising. How about that? You know, you gotta pay for some things. Right? We have advertising packages, and so I want to encourage you that in the new year, you really and truly should try to advertise your business. Advertisement is an important aspect of business, because if you don't advertise your business, then people don't know you have a business. And so you don't see the support and you don't see the returns on your investment in that particular business. Many of us treat advertising as the least important thing. But I would want to say to you, as long as your business is established and running, advertising is the most important thing. Because you have to get the word out there. Because if you don't get the word out there, then nobody knows that you have something to sell, whether it is a service or a product. Good. So my encouragement is advertise, advertise, advertise. As much as we can help you to advertise, we will try. But you know, we can't continue to give you free advertisement all the time. We can help you while you are in the infancy stage, you know, creeping. So we ain't gonna lash you hard across your back, right? But we are going to say to you, as we are saying now, calculate that the time will come when you're gonna pay for this thing, right? Good. Call your live. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, conductor. First of all, the guy that you were trying to get is Guzman, right? At the Extradition. Secondly, Moonshine has a lot to do with this signing of the extradition order, because he felt that, you know, he should be the biggest businessman in the country, right? He wants to own everything. All the share of business and everything, he must own everything. Nobody else must, you know, put nothing into it and become popular, right? Now, the Mohammeds are related. They have a relationship, not probably, you know, relationship as you know, thing, but they have a good thing going with the president. So Moonshine he would have forced to get that extradition order done, right? Because he tells himself that, okay, these people is dealing with a finale and not him, right? So that is the kind of guy, this greedy type of politician. He wants to own everything, right? Everything he wants to own, and he wants to be the boss of everybody and everything. That's my contribution this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your call. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time Call, and let's talk the thing. Right? Let me hear what you're selling. Also, let me hear your thoughts on what we spoke about this morning. And you can share for us some tidbits because, especially if you're involved in business, you must have ideas that you can share to help somebody strengthen their business, whether from a managerial position, customer care position, or something. Call A Live, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Now I listen to the thing about the this. And I would like some advice. Now I am writing poems, right? And I would like to know if the same place that you spoke of, if I could go there to get a name, because I don't want to release the poems and then people like just take over the poems. So I have a set of poems and I don't know what to do with it. Right now, 2 of the poems are out there. I don't even know where they are at this moment. So I don't know if you could advise me on that. And the next thing with this thing with the extradition warrant arrest ever. I know that would have come because remember America was looking into these people. And since they became entangled with ExxonMobil, Exxon being America, they would have been looking into all the things that they were doing. And remember the ambassador, who was a woman, people don't know, but when people come from outside, they come well rounded. They will come and present, oh, I'm just an ordinary nurse. But underneath the nurse is just an umbrella for all the other things that the person is. And she came representing as an ambassador. But at one time, when she was nearing going back, then you started to see all the different areas in which Sarah Lynch was involved in prior to coming to Guyana. People, when she came here, they said Sarah Lynch is an ambassador who works in corrupt countries and she brings them down. But Guyana didn't understand that. And remember, her stay was overextended because she didn't get everything. And lots of people when Vice News came and went back and think people said, oh, they're not going to do nothing. America don't operate so. Pompeo came here and asked them for access to the sea and to the air. They gave it to him. They didn't know what they were doing. In Guyana, there is a certain thing in Guyana that many persons do not know. Even unto the thing itself, they know the power that it has within itself. And because of that thing that is in Guyana, unknowing to many people, all this skullduggery that goes within or without Guyana, it is fully documented. And you see the move that Barrett may try to make on Rickford Burke, and Rickford Burke said it, that move that Barrett made is the starting of the waking up of everything in Guyana. Guyanese prepare to see more things being unearthed because lots of you still got the book here. You know me unclear up. And so is it with the install, they will be going down. People ain't got the patience, but I got the patience. And I know what is going to come down. And that is only the first. I could remember there was if I know I would have saved that thing, where they had this little demonstration with these people at a big dinner, so much $1,000 plate in America. And one of the persons said they should do a dearer plate. I think it was $1,000, something $500. And the woman went up to him. She said, of course, you will ask for a dearer plate dinner. You will do a dinner that has a dearer price tag for the plate because you are moving with the Guyanese underworld. And people should be aware not to mix it too because you're dealing with the underworld, the corrupt underworld in Guyana. I saw that thing. And if that could have gone till to America, America knows more than one. And prior to Shell being this big thing, when he put out there to ask a clean bill of flying health, the Reuters started at him. And he said he gonna do this and he gonna do that. And Reuters continue to dig up and to get all what they want. And they will have him extradited. And this thing was somebody said that Barrett's spiteful. Barrett's spite cannot write the extradition to America. America itself sent for thing. So I don't know what the call is trying to say. But anyway, be prepared for the best. Next year, we got to stand up resolutely. We got to come out and we got to do all the protests leading up to what I see. We may be having a snap election. So we must be prepared. And lastly, those people who are trying to say they will come as scrutineers, I will welcome that. Because working in the poll station, we might say, oh, we're going to give young people a chance to earn a food or a daily bread, a day pay at elections. But when you sit down at your desk and you see the type of things the scrutineers are doing, mainly scrutineers are doing, I think there is a need for elder people to be scrutineers. Forget about the young people. You don't care what they say. Let the senior people be scrutineers because the senior people being scrutineers, they will take the job of scrutinizing to a serious note. But when you put young people in the poll station for scrutineers, they make certain they get a day plan on the phone and they're looking after phone business and not that of election. So all those who could come to work election day, and you add to that, strengthen to those who are coming, senior people who will work as scrutineers for election day. You don't mind the young people are being left out because if they are given the job, they don't do it. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your call. Let me tell you two things about meat and butchery and so on and so forth. First and foremost, Mr. Harris, that's T&W Harris Butcher Shop in the East Rhineville Market there, is temporarily out of service because the butcher is unwell. I think I mentioned yesterday that there were some serious challenges leading up to the Christmas season. And Murphy's Law says if anything can go bad, it can go bad at the worst possible time. And so leading up to that season there, the butcher, Rastaman, fell ill. And he is still ill. And so Mr. Harris, being the kind of person he is basically going to sit out and wait until such time. Call Holy Line that Rastaman feels well enough to return to work. Mr. Harris is certainly apologetic for the disappointments to a number of people. There were people who went to the butcher shop, I understand, perhaps even yesterday and couldn't be served because Rastaman is not there. There were people who perhaps were expecting to get their meats over the holidays and could not get them because Rastaman was not there. So Mr. Harris is really profoundly apologizing for those disappointments. But I want to encourage you, stick with T&W Harris Butchery when they reopen in the new year, because they will continue to bring you that great service and great cuts of meat. Good. Also, there's a young man in the community here, Buxton, who has chicken for sale. Chicken to sell, and he is selling at $4.50 a pound, I think. Yes, he has his $4.80 per pound. You can call him on 652-5870. 652-5870. Call Orin or 677-9177. 677-9177 or 652-5870. Orina's chicken for sale at $4.80 per pound. Of course, if you're buying in large quantities, I'm sure he is going to be willing to flex on the prices, we like to say in Ghana. Support. The youngsters support small businesses so that they too can become big businesses. Call A Live. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam, and good morning, all Guyanese, and good morning, Guyanese diaspora. Once again, I'd like to say, but let me first please say Happy Kwanzaa to all those that observe Kwanzaa. It's our African celebration, cultural, revolutionary shift, and it's the third day. Kwanzaa also carries an economic principle to it for business, for black businesses, so I think it's good that we're talking black business or we're talking business today. And Kwanzaa has that component to it. About the Azruddin Muhammad's family business thing. Is that extradition, has it been signed definitively, Mr. Amsterdam? Would you happen to know?
No, I can't say definitively. I did say that I read on social media that extradition orders have been signed.
Okay. So let's suppose that is the case. In the line of business, the Mohammeds, because you opened up by saying that the Mohammeds seem to have a monopoly in Guyana. I saw one commenter on the line making that comment or making an assertion that the Mohammeds may create, them leaving could possibly create an opening for a lot of other persons who want to do gas to shore. Maybe several other persons, a caller this morning, maybe several other persons could come together in a consortium and fill that Mohammed space, because I think that Mohammed space probably was allocated for Guyanese. So the Mohammeds being moved from that equation, I guess a Guyanese would have to fill that allocated space for business. So that would probably be a whole lot of opportunities for a whole lot of people in Guyana. So it might be a plus, getting rid of a monopoly. While we talk about extradition, you know Maduro, for Venezuelans who listen to this show, or people who have Venezuelans living with them, there is a huge reward offered by the United States Justice Department for Maduro. Let's understand that. And Maduro jumping around with Gonzalez and all of them, he is trying to avoid being extradited to the United States. And the United States government, Justice Department, I don't think is going to pull back on something that's already afoot in the Justice Department. When something is in the Justice Department and the FBI and the DEA and the terrorism squad are on it, I don't think you're going to pull that back like 19 fraud charges. So there's a $25 million award out to Maduro on extradition to the United States. And Venezuelans in Guyana need to collect on that money. Okay, we got to use what it is necessary to keep Maduro on the run, on the back foot. He's our enemy, and he needs to be brought in. Now, with regards to the PPP summons in New York, I think that's a reverse logic. I think the PPP very well know they can't serve a warrant in America. Nandalal is bright enough to know that. Right? The DPP bright enough to know that. Gail Teixeira. So, what did they intend by pretending they want to serve a warrant in New York or serve a summons? Because they wanted to make a national scene, a national crisis. Not a crisis, but a scandal. Say, well, if America can't send home Rickford Port, well, we can't send the Mohammeds either. Or we can't send Jack Dio either. See, that's the logic, I think, that they're really trying to preempt. Notice, all of a sudden, out of the blue, this guy Sabaro goes there to do the same thing that Guyana is trying to do, or will eventually have to do with Muhammad. They're trying to set this up probably to prevent from other persons, like Jack Dio, or other persons. So there is a twisted logic to all of this. And keep in mind that Muhammad will still have to be extradited.
Morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, neighbor, morning. It is 7 hours 31 on the 29th day of December in the year 2023. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. Welcome to the program. How have you been? How was your yesterday? What you do yesterday? Yesterday was Thursday. Eh? The week is out so quickly. And that leaves us 2 days in this 2023. 2 days in this old year. And so, I hope you've started planning and scheming. Scheming is not such a bad word, is it? I hope you have started planning and scheming for the new year. Because the new year, you must be able to achieve a lot of the things you failed to achieve in this old year. Right? Life is a continuum. Life is a continuum. Not because the year changes, you just drop everything from the last year and you move on. I wish it were so. If that were so, then a lot of people would have had clean slates to start the new year with. And a lot of people would have been enjoying their freedom in the new year and so on. Because, alright, let's drop everything and start over. It's a new year. Let's start from zero. It doesn't happen like that. You have to have a continuity plan. How will you move your family from where they are currently to where you would like them to be in the new year? How, as a student, do you move from the grade you're achieving currently to a better grade because you're closer to graduation? You must have a continuity plan, a plan for success, a succession plan. What am I going to do to continue the development that I started in 2023 and move it to another level in 2024? Right? Those are some of the things you should start thinking about. Those are some of the things we all should be thinking about. I know for a fact, from the point of view of Kams Television, sometimes don't let me say anything about two. I'm very, very ambitious. Unless people recognize it, I'm very, very ambitious. Anything I decide to do, I like to do it to the best of my abilities. And so for me, 2024, I'm looking to move Kams TV to another level. I did hint earlier, maybe in the same December month, that I have a dream that in 2024 we're going to have a vehicle that can accommodate comfortably a team to do outside broadcasts. I'm very serious. I think one of the ideal vehicles is the Voxy. The Voxy, because of its design, it will permit you some space in there, to put some collapsible tables, etc. Do the necessary internal work, maybe mount an antenna at the top and so on, and go out there and do quality broadcast. I'm not satisfied with the quality of outside broadcasts we've been doing so far. Recently I've been experimenting with the Zoom approach, and that seemed to have been working. That seemed to have worked, except it is difficult for me to monitor the output, right? Unless I perhaps walk around with another device. But you see, if you create an outside broadcast vehicle, you're going to have input and output set up. So you might have a little screen, be it a tablet or something right there in the vehicle that you can monitor your output from. And so that's one of my dreams for next year, 2024. The acquisition of some sort of vehicle to do outside broadcasts. Of course, the necessary technical equipment also. I have started looking around. I have made a list. I'm working on the acquisition of some of those, like a video mixer and switcher. Yes, that is going to be a necessary tool out there. And of course, an audio mixer that will permit the input of several microphones and stuff like that. Yeah, so I have my head set. I know where I would like to see Kams TV in 2024. And it's not a pie in the sky thought. As a matter of fact, 2 Sundays ago, I tuned into a particular person's broadcast and I heard them expressing the same thoughts, right? That they have a vehicle perhaps which they will convert for the outside broadcast. Well, them man got money, right? Them man, at least it would appear that they had money. They either had or have. And so them man got vehicle that they could just convert. I ain't got none. Good? I have to look to acquire. Good. But at the end of the day, every achievement begins with a dream. You have to start a dream. And then you work to make that dream a reality. And so, trust me, this year approaching, I'll be working towards doing that outside broadcast thing and doing it with more efficiency and more clarity and a better quality. Good, so let's work on that. And it's important too. Why is it important? Why do I want to have an efficient outside broadcast mechanism in 2024? Because 2024 is an election year. And regardless of what else I come on this program and do, to empower viewers, to empower our people, right up there, top of the list of why I do this program is politics. I do this program to influence politics, to influence good governance, to influence economic benefits for the citizens of this country from the government. Right? And so I've always tried to keep that in the forefront of my mind. Why do you do this? Because you want to make a political contribution that will better the lives of the citizens in this country. And so if 2024 is an election year, as much information as you can get to people safely, you should try and get to them safely. Got? And so, yes, I want to be out there every day, going to communities, comfortably going into communities, reporting on what's happening in those communities. I don't want to have to go there and gather and then come back to the studio and or be out there and give you an outside broadcast that is not quality and so on. Good? And so it's important that I equip myself, or we equip ourselves to do that. I emphasize safely because when I go there as an individual, I'm exposed. Especially when I jump into Betsy and I drive out alone and I go to some behind guard back location to bring you information and so on. I'm exposed. Alone. And I remember the days when CN Sharma used to be out there alone. Sharma and the cameraman, and they go on and they trudge through some mud and so on, and they go on and report on the terrible state of living and so on and so forth. Right? Yeah. And I also remember the days when he was beaten up badly. The Mata Prasad, I think, was a beat man. Every 2 morning you'd see Mata Prasad turning up somewhere and beat up Sharma. So much so, I think Sharma had to eventually get a bodyguard. Right? But I'm very serious. These are dangerous times for social media influencers, for political activists, for anybody who dares to expose the PPP and their wickedness. Right? You notice Jack Dio's desperation. He wants to go after social media influencers, even those who live in the United States and foreign lands, those who live outside of Ghana. He wants to go after social media influencers because why? Right? Because of the fact that social media influencers and political activists on social media are getting the message out there so that people are getting a better understanding of what Guyana is, what the PPP government is. And as the boys in the street will say, they don't like that. You don't like that. And so all those of us who are contributing to this education, we have to seriously look at how we can gather information and do it safely. Good? I imagine sitting in the outside broadcast, we can have a drone out there collecting information. It can be done. Right? I also imagine something which I will tell you, and it is something illegal. I imagine having an antenna somewhere in this country where we can broadcast radio signals from. So while we're operating on social media, people can hear the audio aspect of our program on radio, and if possible, audio visual on television. Now the reality is, I know their little transmitters can achieve that, but I know in the interest of silencing the opponent, the PPP will use the broadcast authority to come at you like a ton of bricks. I also know that if you were to apply to them for permission to use such a transmitter, they will not permit you because they want to monopolize information. And that is why they got away with all of the ills in the past, because they were able to monopolize information. You realize how long they held on to. Right? You realize how long they held on to licenses? Somebody is at my gate. Broadcast licenses. You realize how long they held on to those? They gave them out to their friends and cronies, and they were forced to give out to one or two token apparent impartial persons to don't let it look biased. Somebody's there? Hello? Good. Right? But they held on for dear life to broadcasting licenses because they didn't want anybody except the government-controlled media houses and PPP-controlled media houses to have that ability to broadcast. Right? So that people really understand what Guyanese are dealing with under the PPP. And so it might very well be considered a pie in the sky dream that anyone could apply right now to the Broadcast Authority and NFM, I think National Frequency Management Unit, yeah, and the GNB, Guyana National Broadcast Authority. I think NFMU is the department that manages. But I know NFMU manages frequencies, right? And so the first thing they always tell you, we don't have frequencies. All the frequencies are exhausted, but that's not true. That's not true. There is a way where if you really are serious and you want to give out frequencies, you can give out frequencies. There are different bands of frequencies, right? And those of you who have an interest in that, you can just type in, ask Mr. Google about frequencies and how frequencies are allocated and so on, right? Most people broadcast on the 2.4 frequency in this country. I think that might be exhausted. But who is to say that 2.4 is the most common? What do you call them? Microwaves and cordless phones and all of those things are generally on the 2.4 band, right? So if they want to really allow people the liberty of broadcast, you can get to broadcast on the 5.1. They're different, like I said, they're different bandwidth, different frequencies on which people can broadcast. But the intention of this government is not to give people the freedom to broadcast. I remember they had locked up Mark Benchcop, I think, some years ago. Went into barged into his home, said they see some transmitter and some kind of thing, and they had him locked up and so, right. So it would be wonderful if Kams TV can have access to broadcast frequency so that it can really do broadcast work. Continue to educate people, right? I always remember there's a song, it's Free Talk Friday, right? So the lines are open. We can continue, we can do this duel. I remember in the early days I grew up hearing a song, they might call us pirates. They might call us illegal broadcasters. Just because we play what the people want. Y'all remember that song? Basically, I think that song was a tribute, right? To what people resorted to, right? What people resorted to in order to get the broadcast in the UK.
People Station.
Let me hear this.
BTI. Love them because we love them. Never call us pirates.
Listen to this one. Yes.
Call us illegal broadcasters. Just because we play what the people want. Alright, so them a call us pirates. Them a call us illegal broadcasters. BTI try stop us, but they can't. One station it couldn't run England, no. Two station it couldn't run England, no. Three station it couldn't place the nation. Everybody want to listen to the PlayStation. Advertise a stage show and make you dance all around. They will take the equipment and I put it in a van. If them broke down one, we make 5 more strong. Down in England we've got lots of radio stations playing the people music night and day. Yeah. Reggae, calypso, hip hop or disco. The latest sound today is what we play. On and on, off and on and off and on. If them turn it on, we are go turn it on back. If them turn it off, we are go turn it on back. If them broke it down, we are go build it on back. If them take away we record, then we get fresh start. Now me love this station and me love them to a man. We release and dump it and all boom shot. BT I am fine, but them can't stop that.
Pirates, illegal broadcasters. Just because we play what the people want, them a call us pirates, them a call us illegal broadcasters. ETI try stop us, but they can't. Oh no, they can't.
You see, one station it gonna run England, two station it gonna run England, three station it gonna run the nation. That's why everybody listen to the feast station to advertise a dance and ram your session. If a music you want to get them new brand, action station me say for everyone. If them broke down one, we build 5 more strong.
They're passing laws, they're planning legislation, trying their best to keep the music down.
No,
DTI, why don't you leave us alone? We only play the music others won't. Them a call us pirates, them a call us illegal broadcasters. Just because we play what the people want.
analyze.
Them a call us pirates, them a call us illegal broadcasters. DTI try stop us, but they can't.
You see, one sound coulda never run England, two sound coulda never run England, three sound coulda never run England. Everybody want to listen for them station. If them broke down one, we build 5 more strong. If them broke down two, we build 10 more strong. Advertise a stage show and make you dance all around. Me say cock for your ears and to the pay station. If you want to hear a tune, that is
On and on and on. Hey. Them a call us pirates, them a call us illegal broadcasters.
Sorry, yeah. Thank you. I got the note there. Yeah, this microphone thing. I muted my mic. Sorry about that. Yes, I was saying thank you for staying tuned, and I'm sure you heard Shabarangs and Coco T and T Home doing that what I call Pirates Anthem, right? Tribute to those who dare to challenge the system to get the message out. Because at the time, and this song was done in 1988, at the time, the broadcast of stuff like soca and calypso and reggae and so on maybe wasn't allowed as a mainstream item on the airwaves in the UK. And so in order to get the message out, in order to beat the advertising costs and so on, these guys set up these mobiles, pirate stations, as you might want to call them, right? And so yeah, eventually they say stricken the government wise the populace. And so eventually, after time of having to constantly try to combat these illegal broadcast stations, there are ways that to free up. Different approaches had to be taken to allow for all kinds of broadcasts. It's called freedom of expression, freedom of speech. But in Ghana here, we still have the government really exerting some serious influence on broadcast stations. Take, for example, Channel 9. Note, I've not been given permission by Channel 9 to speak of any of these things, but I know of these things because of the fact that WPA has a program on Channel 9 called Groundlings, Walter Rodney Groundlings. And every 2 mornings, you know the strong position that WPA takes on issues in the society. And in order to shut up the WPA, they target Channel 9. Every 2 mornings, the GNBA sends a letter, they call them red line letters or something like that, to Channel 9, referencing something that was said on the Walter Rodney Groundlings program. I think there are times when even the maybe Ethnic Relations Commission might have sent letters to Channel 9 pointing out this was said on the Walter Rodney Groundlings program. And it's a warning. And you have to attend a meeting, and we're going to pull your license and stuff like that. So they constantly threaten the existence of Channel 9 simply because, among other things, let me say, because I don't think WP is the one and only program on Channel 9 that could cause an entire government and its authority to want to shut down that station, right? But I know there's several letters every 2 mornings. Oh God, it becomes, as one would say, frustrating. There's no freedom of broadcast. And they use that to influence Channel 9. So that Channel 9 can influence WPA, Walter Rodney Groundlings, what is said on the program. Right? Why do you think that the GNBA, the Guyana Broadcast Authority, I quite frankly tell you, I don't think I can say I respect them. Because these are bodies that are supposed to be impartial and not political tools. A broadcast authority is catered for in the laws of Guyana. And it is supposed to be an impartial constitutional body, if I remember clearly. But what has the PPP been doing with these constitutional agencies? They select the officers, despite the fact that they might want to give you the impression that it is done transparently. They select the majority of the officers, the commissioners and so on these bodies, so that they can use them to influence the action, the work of these bodies. Right? If you are an impartial broadcast authority, if the National Frequency Management Unit was professional, then you would have had more radio station licenses being granted. You would have had more television licenses being granted. You would have had more what should I say, independent broadcasters. But not in this Ghana. Do you know that up until, I can't remember which year, but it wasn't until maybe the same, yeah, it would have been the same period, maybe until about 2011, when the PPP was about to, when Jack Dio was about to leave office, I think. When they issued all of those radio station licenses to Robert Prasad and his friends and cronies and the organizations pretending to be cultural organizations that are managed by relatives of Robert Prasad, and they basically grab up the radio licenses, frequencies, the radio frequencies and so on that were quote unquote available at the time. It is only in that period they granted a radio license to the University of Guyana. The University of Guyana has had for years a Center of Communication Studies and could not broadcast because they had no broadcasting license. For all the years the PPP was in office, they had no broadcasting license until Jack Dio was about to leave office, if I remember clearly, and they issued out all of those licenses to their friends and cronies. Only then, as old people said, to take shame out of their eyes, right? They granted the University of Guyana broadcast license. I do not know currently if the University of Guyana does broadcast, because while they granted them a license, I don't know that they provided funding to equip the broadcast studio, because at some point in time, maybe when they had that big flood, when was that big flood? 2020 somebody? Right? When they had that big flood, the broadcast studio of the University of Guyana, or the Center of Communication Studies, was damaged. Right? A lot of equipment was damaged during that flood. And so when they granted the license after the fact, they never provided funding to re-equip the broadcast studio. Right? And so I'm of the firm opinion that at the risk of losing one's freedom, Guyanese ought to start doing just what Cockatee and Shabarang sang about. We have to start establishing some pirate stations. Good? And these don't have to be national broadcast stations. There are ways and means. You want to meet the people of Buxton? You can do a community station. A 100-watt transmitter, which doesn't cost more than $250 can do the trick, right? And they're cheap. So oh Lord, hear what I'm talking in this program here, right? I'm educating people, and that is what I'm doing, educating people. Whatever they call it, conspiracy theories, is up to them, but I am educating people. If you were to buy a 100-watt transmitter and broadcast your message from Buxton this morning, and then by the time they could recognize the signal coming out of Buxton, you move to Ansgrove, and then from Ansgrove you move to Beehive or something, and you just keep moving. Excuse me. That's why outside broadcast is a nice idea, right? You just keep moving, so by the time they can track a signal here, you've already delivered the message and you move, right? Even if they were to catch up with you and seize your equipment, because that is one of the first things they do, they seize your equipment, and you lose a $250 transmitter, you can replace that quickly, assuming that you get the kind of financing, the kind of funding to do just the kind of work you want to do with those transmitters, right? So these are just what do you call them, revolutionary ideas. I'm not the creator of these ideas, right? I am just reminding you that these ideas work, And if you have a government that is oppressive, you have to use counter-oppressive measures to deal with that. Good. So that was my tidbit on broadcast and so on, and all that we can do in this election year, quite frankly, to get a message out. Good. I see Mark, whoever Mark is. I don't know if it's Mark Benchcap. The man got away tuning into my program and he don't tell me morning, you know. I know if it's Mark, but I send you out with no message to Mark Benchcap. I don't want no story with the chap. But Mark is saying the flood, I think, took place in 2005. And yes, the stations I'm talking about are community stations. And so I was about to say, if any government is serious about freedom of expression and so on, they can grant licenses to community stations. So people don't have to go behaving like rogues in the society and pirating and stuff like that. You can grant licenses for community stations. And the frequency management unit knows how to do that so that the frequencies don't overlap. A community station license might be within a 12-mile radius or so on and so forth. That's considered a community station. But you try applying for a community station license. Like I said, the first thing they will tell you, they have no frequency. The next thing they will tell you is that your licensing fee might be upward of $1 million yearly. Where does someone operating a little community station, right? Huh? In Guyana. Right? Where does one afford that kind of money? Where are you finding that kind of money from? Good. Here are some requirements. Guyana National Broadcast Authority requirements when applying for a license. You have to be wholly or partially owned by a Guyanese company or wholly CARICOM owned entity. Good. Requirements, you have to have a business plan template for broadcast stations. You have to give an executive summary, your mission and vision statement, your target market, your business overview, your SWOT analysis, human resource plan, sustainability and expansion plan, your list of programs and services, competitive analysis. Please note the following in order to bring yourself in full compliance. All of those things you have to do when you're applying for a license, right? When you provide all of this information, is it possible that somebody there could just pick up your document wholesale and just change the name on it and use it? The processing fees are, if you are applying for television licenses, $25,000, radio license is $50,000, and cable license is $25,000. Why is radio licensing more expensive, the application, than cable? Is it because they're trying to put in place a little deterrent there? They don't want too many people applying for radio? Because radio is the most basic form. It's the cheapest form of broadcast and communication. Right? Good. Fee structure. Here is the fee structure. The following fee structures are in accordance with the Broadcasting Amendment Act of 2017. So 2017, the PNC coalition was in office, right? So the primary zone is the same fee as if granted as an additional zone. Your primary zone for television is $1.2 million of gross revenue for the or $1.2 million or 3.5% of the gross revenue for the year before. Whichever is greater, that is what they want. For radio, it is $2.5 million or 3.5% of gross revenue of the preceding year, whichever is greater. So again, you see the fees you're paying on radio is higher than television, right? Cable is 1.2. So for radio, you pay more than television and radio. for primary zone. For secondary zone, it is $600,000 or 3.5% of gross revenue for television, but 1.250 for radio, 600,000 for cable. Tertiary zone, I'll tell you what these zones are if you're interested just now. 300,000 for television, 625,000 for radio, and 300,000 for cable. Right? Oh, community broadcasting service, $150,000. That's nice. I might be tempted to apply. But what is considered the community broadcast service, right? I will have to investigate that. Good. Community broadcasting service is $150,000 fee, along with $50,000 application, and this whole long list of other requirements. So if you want to apply for a radio broadcast community broadcast license, you might need $200,000. You might have to pay somebody to write your business plan and so on and so forth. Good. So I'm just I discuss these things openly. So if you got the idea, you are on with it. You just got some information. But I certainly want us. Kams TV must start broadcast on radio. Let me see. Currently, I think they're saying that the board. I don't know accurate this is. But the chairperson of the GNB, according to this website, is Lakshmi Rahamat. Right? The chairperson of GNBA is Lakshmi Rahamat. It could be quite possible, because I think when the coalition was in office and up to when the coalition left office, the person who was in charge there was Leslie Sobers. Right, Leslie Sobers. Good. So, let's move on. The lines we made home is Free Talk Friday one. You only want gaff? It's 12 minutes past 8 o'clock. Our the lines are home, then they will remain home until the program closes. Let me see if there is any voice note. Alright, I don't see any. Good. So the whole gist of the matter is next year, 3 days from now, starts in Just For Me, and should for everybody who has an interest in the local politics and electoral politics. The electoral cycle, the electoral year. Why is it the electoral year for me? Elections are constitutionally due in March of next year, I think. March of 2025. So we have a little over a year for the next constitutionally due election. I don't know if there will be arguments that will be made that here Ali got sworn in August, and so the next election is not due until August, on the anniversary of Ali's swearing in or whatever. But I know elections were held in March of 2020. I hope I remember those dates, right? March 2, 2020 or something like that. And so as soon as the break of next year, break of 2024, I'm of the firm belief that the election year is really started in GIST. Yes, it's on the 2nd of March. It was the 2nd of March 2020. Good? Right. So, we need to put a lot of systems in place to communicate with our people, to reach out, but nothing beats groundwork. Nothing beats groundwork. People got to go into the communities and mash the land, boots on the ground. People have to go knocking on doors. From the break of this new year, if it wasn't being done before, people have to seriously start knocking on doors, talking to citizens. For me, I will maintain my position. I don't care who calls me a racist. I don't care which politicians say that they're afraid to be in the same camp with me, David Hines or Takumo Gonse, because Indo-Guyanese see us as racist. I don't care. I will maintain that Afro-Guyanese have a large enough base out there that can form the foundation for any victory for the opposition. And so the work we have to do is go out there and consolidate the African Guyanese votes. I know there are people who are disenchanted with the PPP and their behavior. Indo-Guyanese and all ethnic groups. And so they by themselves will vote for an alternative to the PPP. I quite personally don't think I have to go and expend a lot of resources to court them. Them Sagabayo, they would know that sometimes they don't have to use too many words when they move up. Because some girls just up on the side waiting for them to just say hi. There are lots of citizens out there who are just waiting for the opposition elements to say hi. And then magic happens. Because they recognize that there must be an alternative to this corrupt and wicked, incompetent, bad mind thieving government named the PPP. Don't tell me you will expend a lot of resources going after what you consider crossover votes. If you gotta go after it, it ain't crossing over. It can't be crossover if you're going after it. It has to be smart enough to recognize you have a better alternative and so you're going to cross over. When you gotta go expending all your resources to court it, expend that resource, invest that resource in consolidating your base. Because your base forms the foundation on which you will stand. You making joke when black people believe in something. When black people believe in something, they're going to take their own time and resource to convince others to believe in it. Consolidate your base. Call A Live, good morning.
Good morning and continuous season greetings to you, Brother Kadaki, and your entire home circle. I must say it has been a challenging year for various reasons, right? But God has brought us through here, and we look forward to the new year. I want to differ with you in terms of the election date, the next election dates. I think the election will be, the latest election can be called in 2025, I think it will be November. Because I think it has something to do with the convening of Parliament 3 months after Parliament is dissolved. So if the President dissolved Parliament sometime in August of 2025, or let's say July, the election can be delayed 3 months after Parliament is dissolved. So, and I think that's what will happen. They will put up an argument to take back the time that was in terms of the 5 months, the 5 months delay.
Well, Caller, anyway. I did say that. I did say constitutionally, looking at the 2020 date of March 2nd, one would expect the next elections to be around the March period. But the argument may very well be that Ali was sworn in August, and so they will measure it from then. That is what I said. So we are not a difference here. We have no difference in opinion here.
Yeah. But my worry, as we bow down to this period, my worry is the status of the opposition or the elected representative of the other side. That is my worry. I don't think they're currently inspiring confidence. I think they were outsmart with the Venezuela challenges that we went through with the Venezuela issue. I think they were outsmart. I think the people just needed them to put them up front to show that the country is united. But I don't think the government was serious in united with the unity, so to speak. It's just that it has to show the world, or have to show the Caribbean, have to show Venezuela that Guyana is united. But for example, putting up a united front against this Venezuela challenge, but yet the opposition cannot go on MCN. So I don't know where the unity is. Because how can you say that we're in this thing together, but then I cannot go on MCN and raise a concern that what Venezuela is doing to our country, right? So I think they will, and then at certain major functions, still you're not seeing the leader of the opposition, and on this stop that I went to St. Vincent, I thought it would have been a bilateral. It would have been we will see representation for both sides confronting the madman Maduro.
Well, Norton was invited to those talks, but Norton refused.
I think he signed on the grounds that they were not an agreement in all the practice of the story. It's not that he didn't want to go.
Yes, there was no agenda. He said he couldn't go to any talks without an agenda, which, quite frankly, was smart on his part. We must acknowledge that. Who goes to a meeting without an agenda?
Right, but they were saying, so there was no unity. Because if there's unity, you and I, as a president and as a opposition, we will sit together, tell you what, we are going to start to deal with this issue. And what we're doing this to talk about, and you and I have to sit down and iron out what will be the and there have to be a national agreement on the agenda. So there was no national agreement on the agenda. So this is the point I'm bringing over. There's no unity. It's just unity in words, but there's not unity in action. Right? And I think that is what the government loves to do. They love to put up a front, and then the parliament, I was amazed, and I think it's time the opposition called the speaker. I think the opposition allowed the speaker to get away with a lot of things. First of all, I saw the speaker going around with the president in his walkabout. So I want to know is it that this speaker is going to be in the president entourage in his walkabout. That to me was real. It's too obvious. But then throughout the parliament, throughout the year, the speaker will be giving the opposition some challenges. But then, not the other, but then the last one, the recent one, when the opposition brought a motion to discuss this Venezuela matter, the speaker is going to tell the opposition that this is not an urgent matter. I cannot see how you want a speaker to tell Guyana that the Venezuela problem is not an urgent matter, even though this matter started since September. It's not about it starting in September. It started in the 60s. Since we always deal with Venezuela outrageous claim. So it didn't matter what time the matter started. It is always an urgent matter. I would say in 2023, when we will just hold a referendum, you don't tell Guyanese that the Venezuela matter is not urgent. It's the most urgent matter in the country right now. So we don't tell people that it's not urgent, and we can't discuss it in Parliament. So the opposition need to find a way to register their disgust with the speaker. And I had already proposed that they should start making their speech without using the term Mr. Speaker. Why they cannot get up and make a 15, 20 minutes presentation or 40 minutes without using the term Mr. Speaker? You could say fellow Guyanese. You could say comrades or something. You got to fight, you got to register some sort of protest to let this guy know that it's not business as usual. And the opposition continues to not finding ways to let the government and the speaker and people know that is we not a walk in the park. But they continue to prove on a daily basis that they are walking the park. Now we come up to this 6.5 that was recently handed down, which is the most brazen and outrageous and disgusting, and yet people from the government side is going to sit down and defend. Because you know why? Because they feel comfortable with that. There's no resistance. A few public servants just a few disgruntled statements and there's it. So next year when they be given 5.5%, they can't vex. They cannot be annihilated at 5.5 next year, 2024, because every year is the same thing. This PP government throughout history has never in history given a double figure increase, except for the arbitration, when they were compelled with the arbitration award after 57 days strike. These people will never in history, despite how much money they get, they could have billions of US from the island in the coffers. They will never give the public servants, who's predominantly or 70% or 80% African Guyanese, a substantial livable wage. And this across the board increases that in South. Because if you're working for $1 million a month and you'll be given 5% or 6%, and a man working for 80,000 a month and given 5%, how you gonna get the same amount? Your attractive money from a 5% if you try $1 million a month is somebody else's salary you trying on. So they will enjoy a 5% or 6% increase because their salary is over $1 million. But the man who is drive 80 and 80,000 and 120,000, there's nothing for him. They will never give a substantial increase until and unless something severe is shown to them. But some people in some circles saying Guyanese people are gullible, and maybe it is so. Maybe it is so. So that's what I'm saying. I am a little bit worried about the status of the opposition as we hit 2024 going into 2025.
Thank you, caller.
Good. Bless.
I hear the caller asking for more innovative thinking. More innovative thinking in the opposition. You see, people get what they accept. Right? People get what they accept. And if you're accepting the speaker misbehaving, then that is what you will get. I think I've seen efforts to move a no confidence motion against the speaker maybe once. It didn't succeed and everything has dropped. Right? I think referring to the speaker in your address to the National Assembly might be part of parliamentary protocol. But I also think with the necessary research, people can find a way around that. Like the caller is saying, you must stop calling this man Mr. Speaker. Quite frankly, I believe you must stop calling anybody in the National Assembly honorable. Right? You must find ways and means of registering your disdain for what is happening in the National Assembly. I have not seen enough of that for the last 3 years. I intend to disrespect nobody, but I don't think that there is a lot of innovative thinking. A lot of people in the National Assembly are not thinking outside of the box. A lot of people in the National Assembly are not willing to push the envelope further than where it is, just by their foot. And that is why we will continue to have mediocrity, if I can call it, in this society. Listen, I like to look at those videos of parliamentary behavior in other countries. I like see books fly. I like see paperweight pelt across the room and stuff like that. Not that I like violence, but if people are not prepared to listen and be reasonable, it is your duty to be unreasonable, to bring the plight of the people to the eyes of the world. Caller, thank you for holding your life. Caller, your life, thank you for holding. Caller, you are live. Like the caller fall asleep on this call. Alright, let the next caller call so we can take it. Caller, good morning, you're live.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. On the topic of Parliament, I'm calling again to find out when the WPA gonna be taking up their seat in Parliament that Ms. Rabo Hali squatting on.
Caller, of what interest is that seat in WPA in Parliament to you?
Mr. Kadaki, we need people like you in Parliament. And you guys want that seat and you're not using it.
Asking again, y'all really could stand me in Parliament?
Yeah, but I mean, WPA need to be in Parliament if WPA wants to be vibrant. And we need you in Parliament, Mr. Kadaki. And you got this lady. Was her like was she has no one following her? Like, where is her constituents? Like, how much followers she has? Like, you, the WP, why is she squatting on the seat?
Thank you, caller. Noted.
Like,
I respect the right of the caller to want to see the WPA in Parliament and so on. But I don't necessarily agree that the WPA has to be in Parliament to be vibrant. I think the WPA is extremely vibrant in this society without even being in Parliament. Right? Sometimes you have to be careful. And this is not the WPA's position, this is mine. Sometimes you have to be careful. Because you step into these so-called institutions and they use institutional bylaws and institutional protocol and all kind of thing to dumb you down. So sometimes your fight is better fought outside of the walls of those circuses. That's what I see them as right now. Good? Call your live. Thank you for holding.
Yeah, good morning, Brother Kadaki, and good morning to the Reds of Guyana. I would like to touch on a couple of points right
Caller, you have a lot of interference in your background.
Is there still that now?
Well, you're definitely echoing.
Okay. I think that's because I has the how is that now?
That's slightly better, so go ahead.
Yes. So quickly, it's rather unfortunate that Bharat Jagdeo has issued that statement yesterday at his press conference saying that he will reach to those people who were criticizing the administration. Because within a democracy, there's a freedom of expression. And if you don't have freedom of expression, there's no democracy, you're trampling on the rights of people. And more so, you're trying to reach into the United States where freedom of expression is guaranteed under the Constitution. You could tell the President of the United States in its face, you are wrong, sir, or whatever, I mean, not in a disrespectful manner. And that's allowed. That's one, and that's very unfortunate. And the other thing is that I noticed that the British government has ordered a military warship into the Caribbean Sea headed towards Guyana to train and have exercise with the Guyana Defense Force. I think that has been long coming because that request has been made before. Let me say to this nation, Maduro does listening to this program. The Venezuela embassy does listen to all these programs. He does his newspaper clipping and all of that. And let me say to him that Guyana is a sovereign and independent nation, and Guyana reserves the right to do anything it so feels to defend its national security. So, not only one ship the British should have sent, they should have sent 40. That is my position, because we're vulnerable, and Guyana or Georgetown is not a colony of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. And we have a right to defend ourselves. I see he has now taken it upon himself to order 6,500 military personnel to conduct a military operation in the Eastern Caribbean Sea. Well, that's his thing. Once he do not cross the territorial space of Guyana, well, we don't have no problem with that. And we have friends to come to our defense. And let me say to Guyanese people, some people take the position that we will not defend the people. I keep saying that you doesn't really got to go on the front line and pick up on the AK-47 to defend Guyana, to really defend Guyana. In your own little ways, stand up, speak out for your country. Had this been any other country, people would have been up in arms. It is unfortunate that we have an administration that seems to not want to include the opposition in all the decision-making process. I would want to suggest like a Supreme Council of the people, like ex-military personnel. You get Gary Best, you get Colonel Harmon and David Green Joe, all these people who know about or have things to do with this thing. So she that ran for, you form a supreme council of the people that can brainstorm and give guidance. Ali would have been better off with that. Had I been president, that is what I would have done. And now you can see that it's haywire, because they don't need to have the opposition on board, because they want to see when it is victory time and we do win the battle, that the PPP caused that. And for credit to them, but little do they realize it is Green Joe who initiated the process to send the matter to the Secretary General, then Ban Ki-moon, and so Ban Ki-moon decided to send it to the ICJ. And my recommendation to the administration is abandon the Argyle talks. Do not go to Brazil. Within 2 months or 3 months, you're supposed to go to Brazil. Do not go there. Abandon it. Done with it. It makes no sense. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you for your call. There's several things I would really like to respond to from this caller. But sometimes I really ask myself, respond to what extent? To what end? Guyana is a sovereign nation. Guyana is not a colony of the Bolivarian Republic. But yet the state of Guyana went to St. Vincent and signed the Argyle Declaration, or made the Argyle Declaration that has, quite frankly, annexed Guyana to Venezuela. Many people don't see it like that. When WPA issued a press statement in response to the Argyle Declaration, some Dr. Randy Prasad or something had a lot to say. I want him to say no. Because one of the things that the WPA raised was this thing about both sides will desist from, I would say, aggravating each other directly or indirectly. And the question was raised, what will the Venezuelans interpret as an indirect threat to this Argyle Declaration or this so-called peace? And here it is, not a month after, not 2 weeks after such a press statement from the WPA. Here it is. There's an announcement that the Brits are sending one of their sea liners, whatever they call them, I don't know, to these parts as a show of love and support for Guyana and so on and so forth. And what happened? Right? The Venezuelans are saying, hey, this is aggression. Right? This is aggravating. This is a direct threat. And so we are going to do a counter measure. We are going to send thousands of our troops out there to display our capacity. You can't vex with Venezuela. Not because you got your big brother on your side, you're going to show off. We could show off too. Right? So a lot of us saw that Argyle Declaration as having the possibility of tying Guyana hands in many instances, or giving the Venezuelans reasons to cry foul in many instances. And so it is unfolding. The brother said the Brits should have sent, 4, 10, 40 of these vessels? Are we aware that these vessels don't come here free? Are we aware that every joint operation, as I'm calling it, with the US and the Brits, and I think I saw some other Navy or somebody else throwing their hat into the ring with Guyana? Are you aware that Guyana is spending hundreds of millions of dollars to have these sideshows? Because I don't see them as anything as a sideshows. Right? Are you aware of that? War is profit. The threat of war is profit. Peace also has a big price. But the price Guyana is paying right now for the foolishness of the PPP is a price that Guyana, quite frankly, can ill afford because it is at the expense of its citizens, public servants, children, healthcare. All that money that is going to be spent by Guyana for all of these maneuvers with the Brits and the Americans and whoever else will come is money that could improve the quality of life of our citizens. Good? Call your life. Call your
Yeah,
life.
good morning. The way they are for the money that is being and these people come. Kadaki, we gotta face reality. If in front them could take money, they're running up places like the new living room outside there, Dubai. If we got to take money and get people to because of what Barrow did, let money out let us. That money going to bring these people to help them. That only way we were able to of the island. Let it be that way the part of Guyana was not in the bargain is now heading or overrunning the ICJ. Nobody really gave an answer towards that alarm. And if ID cards and citizenship, the Venezuelans who crossed the border within 2 weeks. The African people coming into the country from the various parts of Africa, Nigeria, all around from Africa, who set up businesses. Now, many of these people they come with their partners. The even more thing, the men this year, they come with their partners, their wives. And what this installed regime is doing, they husband permit to allow them to work. But to the wives, their wives are being considered tourists in Guyana. And I know of many families, one in particular, the husband and wife came. The wife is still being considered a visitor of the country. So
one of your call is in and out. The quality is getting worse. Thank you for your contributions. I don't know if it's a connection that she has, but the call was getting worse. As we say, from bad to worse. It's 16 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. You're still tuned to the Guyanese morning time. Let me invite you to Club Twilight on the 31st. Let us usher in the new year together. It's a new year party at Club Twilight, and it's going to be, of course, the 31st of December. Sideline down Buxton North. Music by Kams Audio. Admission is free. There's no entry charge. Just come and have a good time. Support the bar. Have fun. And go dancing into the new year. Come down to Club Twilight on the 31st of December. And let's have fun together. That's Sunday night, mind you. Right? Saturday, which is tomorrow, there's a private function here. So the bar is not going to be open. The club is not going to be open to the public. But come Sunday, let's have some fun time together. Call you live. Good morning. Call you live. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I was listening to the speaking with Barjak last night. As he mentioned at one time, the APNU was dictatorship, which I know he was referring to actually the PNC at that time when they couldn't get stuff to eat.
Caller, can you speak up a little, please?
I was listening to the press conference about Barjak there when he mentioned something about at one time when you couldn't get things to eat with the PNC government and everything like that. You had to, if you was eating sardine, you had to bury the chemical and let them know you were getting it, you would be locked up and everything. But he's talking about these things, and he's failing to realize, he's failing to mention that at one time they had this place, Gimpex on Rob Street, which was a PPP place. You were getting food in Guyana, and that was the only place that food could have been had, and you had to be a PPP member. That was around the corner there on Rock Street. But he didn't mention that. He was always like focused on the time when you couldn't get sardine, you couldn't get like stuff in Guyana. Police were raiding your house. But that's the time when most of the people in that area, in the Borbish area, made money, and during that time. You understand? But he's not telling people that. He's telling people who killed Rodney and everything else. Okay, that's gone. We haven't forgotten it. But what about Waddle and all these people, Shah and all that was killed? You know, but he's there talking a lot of nonsense. These young people don't know about this. You see, I'm 77 years of age and I've been there. I know. It's in my head clear. You know, it's not a one-sided affair. Speak exactly what happened. Somebody should step up and let him know. You understand? What was going on, and they're aware of what was going on during that time. We couldn't get food in Guyana in that time. You can remember when they had Gimpex just around the corner from Wellington and Rock Street here. They used to bring in a lot of Russian stuff, food stuff and everything packed up there. You had to get a PPP card to get food from here. You couldn't get nothing else anywhere in Georgetown, no food stuff. So I just hope that somebody else will just like come up and like let him know that people know what was going on. It's not what he says. You know, that's it. You know,
Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
You know, I saw a letter in the Kaicho News to the same extent, talking about freedom basically. This scholar is talking about, Jack, you're talking about a time when food shortage or shortages were present in this country. I saw a letter in Kaicho asking about whether or not people were granted the freedoms that we're talking about now under the PNC government. When a political party or your political representatives, your national leaders, have to go all the way back to the 60s or the 70s and 80s to justify their existence, we're in dire straits. We are in dire straits. The PPP has been in government for, God knows, 30-something years. What, 30, 33 years? I don't know. I can't. I honestly, right now, I ain't functioning to even do the math. But the PPP has been in government for about 3 decades. On and off. And if they don't have a track record that they can stand on and make a case to Guyanese people that they're good for them, then certainly the time has long come and long gone, and it's coming again for us to see the backs of the PPP. If Jack Deho has to go back to the 70s and 80s to talk about food shortage and oppression of freedom or whatever you want to call it, at his end of year press conference, it means his government has achieved nothing that is worthy of mentioning to the Guyanese people that will convince them that the government is worth its salt. At this time of the year, Jack the Ocean will be boasting of what a robust economy we got. Jack the Ocean will be boasting about the grand increase in wages and salaries for public servants. The big adjustment income tax. The large amount of grants given out. The raising of the minimum salaries and wages in the society, that even private sector workers can get more. That is what a year, end of year press conference in an economy like this should have been addressing. And if the only thing Jack Dio had to address was Rickford Burke and food shortage of the 70s and 80s, then know that a society is being led by a set of shitheads. Know that. The other day I read for you the Prime Minister of St. Kitts, I think. Yeah. Announcing increases for public servants and grants for citizens. One of the things I didn't mention to you then is that every child below the age of 18 was given a bank account with varying sums inside. Go research it for yourself. I can spend a few more minutes on this program and do it for you if you don't want to do it. Right? Go and check it out. Have you heard the Jack Dio government in this time of oil say they're giving them 8% increase? St. Kitts and Nevis Christmas bonus. No new taxes. Let me find it here. Christmas bonus. No new taxes in 2024 budget. Prime Minister Terence Drew presented a 2024 budget filled with goodies for citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis on Wednesday. And this reportage was done in on the 14th of December. Here are some of the highlights. 50% salary bonus to all civil servants, government auxiliary employees, pensioners, and STEP workers. Right? Workers bonus EC $500 to all non-civil servants. So not only did he give bonuses of 50% to civil servants, if you were working in the private sector, every employee gets a $500, EC $500. Every citizen got something. No new taxes, corporate income tax, national minimum wage. The national minimum wage was moved from EC $9 to $10.75 per hour. The rate will be increased to EC $12.50 per hour from July 1st. So from January to July, the rate is $10.75 per hour. But July 1st, it is going to move to $12.50 per hour. What are Guyanese getting out of this oil economy? The fastest growing economy of the world. You see anything compared to what St. Kitts is giving their citizens? Everybody gets something. Pension for all government auxiliary employees. Every single one of them getting pension. All government auxiliary employees and other monthly paid workers employed by the government on or after May 18, 2012 will be eligible to receive a pension. Financial education and savings programs. $1,000 savings account for all citizens 5 to 18 years. So once you're between age 5 and age 18, you get $1,000 EC dollars in an account. You can invest in shares of government majority-owned companies. And there's comprehensive financial education topics for the youths. Social Security pension increase. Minimum age contributory pension will increase from $430 to $500 per month. Assistance, that is non-contributing, what we call old age pension, and Social Security, what we call them, some public assistance. will increase from 255 to 350 per month. They give him funeral grant, increase by 40% from 2005 EC to 3,500. That is what a year-end press conference of a government that is making sense looks like. Those are the things they address. But we got a set of jackass, one of them named Jack Dio, coming to tell the nation a bundle of nonsense about when food is short. All across the world, there is food shortage. And there has been food shortage. And it has been mitigated by governments that are loving and caring of their people. We ain't got food shortage in Guyana now. We claiming that we ain't got food shortage, but people are starving. Because the food might be there, availability, in abundance, but affordability is not possible. People are forced to live on less than $5 in this country per day. Are you aware of that? Jack Dio addressed that at his year-end press conference. This is the kind of baloney that gets me mad. And citizens must, the so-called reporters who go to these press conferences must ask Jack Dio these hard questions. They must read more. Don't wait on an editor to give you questions to go to the press conference. Y'all read more, research more, pay attention to more national and international happenings so you can compare them to this shithole country named Guyana. When Jack Dio opened his shit mouth. A whole press conference to address Burke. A man who was, according to them, means nothing. A whole revisiting of 1970 and 80 crises, which many of us have established as basically was as a result of the Cold War, etc. But now we have an abundance of resources, flush with our money. People can't afford to eat properly. And this idiot come telling people crap. And they got a lot of other idiots behind him on the same bandwagon of foolishness. That's why I want to be able to reach into every home in this country so I could talk some sense in people's head. Call it life.
Good morning. That jackass of all jackasses, like Satan reject, Lucifer throw away, has nothing else in his brain other than Abner, Burnham, and Rickford Burke. I intend to do a nice graphical piece with his brain and implant those things inside. That is what I intend to do, and I'm going to do it. Because there's nothing more in that man's brain. When have we done a press conference and highlighted the things you said there? When have we done that? And look around the world at every leader's press conference, in the year press conference, or address the nation, what they do. They talk about what they achieve and forecast what they're about to achieve in the coming year or years. This man's head is in the ass of Abnu and Rickford Burke. So there's nothing more Papa he could see. Nothing more. And when people going to stand up and say, look, this man talking shit, S-H-I-T. Did he really say that he's going to come after people who criticize them? I don't listen to him, but did he say so?
If he said what?
That he's going to come after people that criticize the government.
I don't know. I didn't listen.
Because I don't listen to him, but if he said so, we in the diaspora, who fighting so much, right? And our faces, our names, and everything is out there, right? Our freedom of expression, of freedom of speech, right? Which is one of the tentacles of democracy, is up for threat. And we need to go to our Congress people, some of who we can, right? We can go in front of the face and say, look, we ain't only going to get a campaign to shut you down if you don't do anything, right? With Guyanese, we're going to get our Caribbean allies to join in this fight. Because this thing is wrong. This man needs to be all in. He needs to be all in and be taught a lesson. It's about time that dictatorship shut down. Because we gonna get, as I say, a Rwanda or something gonna come along that place. Because people gonna get fed up. People gonna get fed up. So that's all I need to say.
Thank you for your call. I'll show you again what is innovative governance. Let me take this call. It's time for me to go, but I'm going to give you all 2 minutes more. Call it live. Call it your live.
Yeah, hi, good morning, Kadaki, and viewers everywhere. Season greetings to you.
Good morning, caller. We're listening.
Yeah, Kadaki, just quickly, I heard about the mention that Jack Dio did on the Burnham era. As a person that lived through that era and have the benefit of comparison, what's happening in Guyana today far surpasses the food shortage years during the Burnham era. Because remember, the food shortages that we were talking about is foreign imported stuff, mainly flour and
Sardines and herrings and dal and so.
etc. So those items, yes, the Burnham era did have some shortages for a period of time. And after, things came back together during the Hoyt administration, which they wouldn't mention the name Hoyt as if Hoyt never existed. But these guys are desperate. The fact that they have to go back to a time when Guyana had no oil to make that comparison, it's really pathetic. The Jagdeo government is failing miserably. And the amount of atrocities that were committed during their 26 years, they're hoping and counting on the collective amnesia of the Guyanese people. Our politicians on this side of the aisle should never allow them to get away with that kind of foolishness. When Jagdeo comes up with his empty press conference, the opposition should have a counter press conference to educate some of the youths that would be listening to that kind of garbage and are uninformed. But Guyana has oil, and the amount of people, you still have 48% of the population that is living in poverty. But let's compare that to the Burnham era, and we'll see that these guys are far worse than in Burnham time. And they have nothing to offer the nation. So Jagdeo is going back to a dog whistle to invoke sentiments, anti-PNC sentiments in the older Indians who may still have some hang-ups and who are not willing to open their minds and to accept a different race. That's all he has left. So he's reeling. He's on the ropes. Don't let him get away. We have to keep banging and beating on this regime. They're failing the nation miserably. Look, in the space of 12 months, the amount of horrible atrocities the nation had to go through. And when you talk about food shortage, never don't forget the previous caller talked about the contraband era when many of those Indians, many of them made a fortune. I can tell you that in Richmond Hill, when I worked there for the cable company, I encountered a couple of them. One of the guys told me his dad was a police, a high rank in the police force, and he left him money in the 2000 in this period of time that he was able to take that money and buy a home in America from the money during the Burnham era he took to buy a home in Queens. So this story must be told in all its facets, the good parts, the bad parts, and every part. So we must not seek to rewrite history, and Jagdeo should not be allowed to get away with that kind of foolishness. I don't have time to go into the Burke situation, but no one in the diaspora is afraid of Bharat Jagdeo. That nonsense perhaps is a threat to the people at home who might be afraid to speak up and send out information, damaging information to people like Mel and Rhonda Dixon and others in the diaspora who is making an impact and damaging. He can't control social media. So that's what he has left is those media houses in Guyana that they control, so they can get an opportunity to go and spew out disinformation. And I hope Aubrey Norton and the opposition is able to present a counter narrative immediately in real time and dispel the foolishness that Jack Deere is coming up with. That's all I got to say for now. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for your call. Like one caller said, or several contributors said, the shortage that they refer to was to imported items. Guyanese never used to punish for food. We never used to punish for food. Nowadays, look at the salary increase they gave recently. As Glenn Ladd, I think, put it, it's equivalent to 3 slices of pumpkin in the market. 3 slices of pumpkin. Come on, time for calling done. It's 6 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. I can't go on longer. Sorry about that. Can't take your call. Right? I can't take any more calls. I'm wrapping up. 3 slices of pumpkin in the market. This is what the salary increases represent. I said I was going to give you an example of what caring governments do. This is how to sink it again. I don't know why I am attracted to sink it these days. It's because of the positive news coming out of government, or encouraging news coming out of government. I want to assume that the Prime Minister in St. Kitts cares about his people. Right? The people there can tell me other stories I don't know. But from what the reportage that I'm following says that this man cares. With the Christmas season here, shoppers and businesses in St. Kitts and Nevis have been advised that the discounted value-added tax rate days are making a triumphant return on December 15th and 16th. This unique event, marking the grand finale of the promised free VAT discounted days for 2023, will empower approved VAT-registered businesses to provide their customers with a reduced VAT rate of 5% on eligible goods. During this 2-day shopping extravaganza, customers can take advantage of a special 5% VAT rate on a wide range of eligible goods, previously subject to the standard 17% VAT rate. This offer is exclusively applicable to tangible items that can be immediately issued or delivered during the discounted VAT rate days. Let me stick a pin there to explain to you. The government of St. Kitts decided that, listen, y'all paying VAT all year. For 3 days in the year, we are going to give you a reduction in the amount of VAT you pay. From 17% to 5%. This is the Christmas shopping season, when more money is spent and therefore more VAT will be collected in terms of dollar amount. And so the government will get a windfall. And in recognition of that, the St. Kitts government say, here, we're going to take the 17%. We have looked at it and we believe that we could lose 12% for these 2-3 days. And so we're giving that back to you. So for these 2-3 days, only pay 5% VAT. VAT will be exempt on the first 50,000 of vehicle costs. First 50,000 of vehicle costs, except in cases where a duty-free concession applies. So if you're bringing in a vehicle during that time, you get a $50,000 exemption on VAT. Vehicles will be charged 70% on the amount over 50,000. Only in stock items qualify for the discounted VAT rate. So any orders for items not readily available will not benefit. Good? I'm not going to read more of that, so you get the idea. When it comes to alcoholic beverages, specific products like wine, brandy, vodka, whiskey, and so on, will not be eligible for the reduced VAT rate because of sin goods. However, a wide array of other products will still be available at the exclusive 5% VAT rate, allowing customers to enjoy significant savings. It means that the customers had more money to expend on items that will make the holiday season happier, better, brighter, bigger. Right? The Granger administration reduced VAT from what? Whatever I think to 14% or from 14 to 12. But I don't pay attention to these numbers sometimes. But the Granger administration reduced VAT by 2 or 3% compared to where the PPP had it. The economy, when Granger did that, the economy wasn't flush with oil money. The economy is now flush with oil money. Have you heard of further reduction of VAT in this country? Have you heard of any VAT exempt days during the Christmas shopping spree? No, you can't, because you don't have a government that is caring about its people or even innovative. And that is clear when they gotta go back to the 1970s and 80s to tell you about food shortage. Right? That's clear. Let's focus on that. Those things in an election year. I have to go. I definitely have to go. Thank you for tuning in. Come join me Sunday night. Oh, there's one voice note. Let me play it.
Good morning, Kadaki. People like to complain all the time that there were food shortages. But please do not let us forget that Barbicians, right? Barbicians got rich off of that situation. Whether it was by trading food stuff, some of them had boats, so they had transportation going on. Some of them, or I should say most of them, had the tapirs. Those tapirs transported people from one place to the next. So I find it very hypocritical when they talk about shortage of food and they didn't get any food to eat. They lie, brother. They lie. They were going across. If you go to Skeldon, just beyond where you get the boat, the official boat. If you go down in Crabwood Creek, you could have gotten food stuff which you bought and you traded it. So they even had a mini cambio because you could have bought money at the place where the launch was. You could have traded money there. So I hate when they talk about that. I'm not going to speak so much about the Essequibo side, but I know for sure that Barbies quarantine, the Barbicians had a thriving trade going on. So I hate it when people talk about that and play victim, because that is not correct. Yes, we had shortages, but they weren't affected. They found ways to do business. Thank you.
Thank you for that voice note. And have a good day. I'll see you again on Monday. Yeah, Monday. We can talk on Monday. It's New Year's Day. Yeah, New Year's Day. We can talk. Have a good one. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Whatever you do it with a lot of C's, care, consideration, caution, and so on and so forth. Ensure you go alive into the new year. Goodbye. See you next time in 2020.